Bob Gymlan came out with a video recently which discussed the Mahamba along with some other giant crocodiles. I did a video on this cryptid too, but if you don't know, the Mahamba is a supposed species of 40 to 50 foot crocodile in the Congo, which lives in dens or burrows up to 1,000 meters in length. It supposedly looks like a regular crocodile, but only bigger. I'm a big fan of Gymlan's channel, especially his research of Bigfoot claims, and when I watched Gymlan's video on the Mahamba, I thought it was pretty good. However, there were some things he stated that I felt should be addressed, so I decided to make a response video critiquing parts of his mini documentary. This video is not meant to bash Gymlan, as once again I felt that his video was very well done, but considering the massive following Gymlan has and the amount of views the video gained in such a short period of time, I thought I'd try to get this information out there. So let's begin looking at his video.
It's unclear to me if the word Mahamba refers to a different species of crocodile, or simply is the word they used for really big crocodiles.
So the word Mahamba was a word that began to pick up in Roy Mackall's book, A Living Dinosaur. In his book, he spoke with the locals in the Congo who had a Linggalan word for regular crocodiles, which was Nkoli. But for the term Mahamba, Mackall stated that the locals did not think the Mahambas were just really big crocodiles, and truly thought they were unique. Although Mackall admits that these statements from locals don't dictate that the Mahamba is a separate species from known crocodilians of today, it appears that the word Mahamba implies a different species from the other known African crocs.
Okay, so we have one account of a crocodile over 42 feet in length, and one account of a 50+ foot crocodile. And if we're to give John the engineer Werner's size estimations any credit, then we must accept that these two encounters were not the same crocodile, because the beast cited in 1884 was larger than the specimen cited in 1888, and I don't think that crocodiles can shrink.
It should be noted too that Werner saw multiple gigantic crocodiles during his travels, stating, quote, "I have seen several considerably longer than the little AIA, and she measures 42 feet. Based on at least Werner's perception of things, there was definitely more than just one crocodile that was over 40 feet long.
There was a slightly larger specimen found in Papua New Guinea in the late 70s, 79 I think, and he was found after drowning in a fishing net. Can you imagine pulling in a net and seeing that? He was a few inches longer than Lolong, but not significantly larger."
The crocodile he is referring to here is the Fly River Giant, which drowned in a fishing net in 1979, as was stated. Based on the skull and giant skin that remained within 24 hours after the crocodile's death, scientists measured the crocodile as 20 feet 4 inches long. This therefore makes it the official record for any and all living species of crocodilians, which I'll go more into later. It should be noted too that due to the skin being dry and the tip of the tail being missing, the croc's true measurement was believed to be at least 20 feet 8 inches long.
And there is some alleged footage of Podal, but the problem, as usual with water things, is that there's no scale, no pun intended. Indeed, various potato footage shows a monstrous crocodile that could easily be anywhere between 20 and 30 feet, which of course is not helpful at all in establishing a record.
So the footage here is labeled as the 30-foot potal, but is actually of another monster called the Port Blair Giant. I'm not going to go in depth about this specimen, considering I have 3 videos about this crocodile, but here's the short of it. While online claims assert this crocodile to be 25 feet long, it is highly unlikely. Enthusiasts and experts who have seen this footage estimate the crocodile to be anywhere from 16 to 23 feet long, but it is hard to tell given what's shown in the footage. Either way, this crocodile is a big one. As for the supposed 30-foot potal, if you want to learn more about this monster, you can watch my previous video here. But as for footage of this crocodile, all that's truly listed as him are these photos from locals and footage of his eye shine from a Discovery documentary.
The largest Nile crocodile ever recorded was a specimen shot in 1980. He was 21 feet and 2 inches long, and there was no way to weigh him, but he was estimated to weigh 2,400 pounds. And that's actually kind of surprising, because this means that the largest ever credibly recorded crocodile was actually a Nile crocodile, not a saltwater croc.
So this crocodile I'm assuming is a Nile crocodile shot by the Duke of Mecklenburg in the 1900s. The reason for this is the weight and length stated seem to line up with this sentence from the Nile crocodile Wikipedia page. So the first thing that should be addressed if Gymlan is referring to the specimen is that the crocodile was not killed in 1980. While researching this crocodile in the past, there have been disputes about when this crocodile was killed, but the years range from 1905 to 1915, but I believe the 1905 date is the correct one. As for this crocodile's length, it also varies. I have seen lengths for this particular animal range from 21 feet 4 inches to 21 feet 6 inches, but I believe the 21 foot 6 inch measurement to be the accurate one. Either way, it was reported to be over 21 feet long. As for this being the verified record for modern crocodiles though, we can't say that. Other than multiple reports stating that this crocodile did indeed exist, we don't have any photos or physical remains to prove this was a record, at least for modern standards. This is something that will be addressed perhaps in a later video of mine, but the verification process for record-breaking crocodiles has been all over the place historically. However, there have been 3 factors that play a role in a record-breaking crocodile being verified in modern times. 1. There has to be photographic evidence of the crocodile's existence. 2. There has to be some physical evidence of the crocodile to examine, like a skull or skin remaining. And 3. The animal must be measured by a credible third party such as a scientist or government official. These 3 20-foot crocodiles below are the ones who have met these requirements, and therefore are true record breakers. It should also be noted too that these are all saltwater crocodiles, making them the longest of all the species, just as Gymlan says later in this video when he states that salties are still on average the largest.
One of the largest Nile crocodiles ever spotted. He's about 20 feet long, 70 years old, and has killed hundreds of people. And it absolutely blows my mind how people can find this claim dubious.
So Gustave was a giant Nile crocodile that was estimated to be at least 18 feet by experts that visually observed him in person. However, there is a good chance that he was 20 feet long. Marc Gonçalves, one of the experts who saw Gustave, also got to see the confirmed 20-footer Lolong in person. This makes Gonçalves perhaps the only person to tell if Gustave was as big as what was claimed based on visual estimation. When asked to reflect back on Gustave's length sometime after seeing Lolong, he did believe Gustave was around 20 feet. As for Gymlan finding it dubious that people question the claim of him killing several hundred people, there's 2 sources of information that debunk this. Firstly, the 300 claim came originally from Patrice Faye, the man who dedicated several years of his life to track Gustave. The death count was originally a rough estimate of his at the time, but as several years went on and Patrice tracked the attacks, his personal research found only 60 potential attacks tied to Gustave. He even said that there was a good chance Gustave even had less attacks tied to him. Therefore, this claim of Gustave killing several hundred people is now seen as outdated. The second source to debunk this comes from Brandon Sidlow, who runs the Worldwide Crocodilian Attack Database, aka Crocattack. On his Crocattack website, he has a section about Gustave where he explains, quote, "Back in 2015, I was asked to be part of a documentary looking into the truth surrounding Gustave. Due to safety-related issues, the project never progressed beyond the earliest stages, but it did result in some useful research that revealed a number of interesting facts. Through correspondence with documentarians who formally investigated Gustave, I learned that most of the attack incidents that were investigated resulted in dead ends, with very little reliable information available. They believed that the number of attacks had been exaggerated when certain local residents learned that a film crew was visiting the region. With these 2 factors in mind, I believe Gustave did kill a good number of people, but it was nowhere near the original number claimed."
The largest American alligator on record was 19 feet and 1 inch, or 5.8 meters, but the scale used to measure that 19-foot Nilo maxed out at 2,000 pounds, and the Nilo exceeded that, and the 19-foot American alligator weighed a mere 1,043 pounds, or 490 kilograms, making Niloticus far larger than the American alligator. Literally twice its weight per length, it seems.
So I'm assuming here that he is talking about the American alligator killed by Edward Avery McElhenney in 1890, which was 19 feet 2 inches long. This is claimed to be the longest verified American alligator, as McElhenney was very well educated on these creatures and reported it in his well-respected book, The Alligator's Life History. However, McElhenney was also known for exaggerating details about his personal life, so with no physical evidence to back its existence, it's hard to say if this animal was as big as what was reported. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it is real, as McElhenney in the same book showed the skin of another massive gator around 18 feet long. As for the 19-foot alligator's weight, it was never actually obtained. McElhenney and some companions of his tried to pull the alligator, but it was too big for them to drag. McElhenney only got a length for the gator. If we use this equation to estimate the weight of the alligator, this 19-foot 2-inch gator would be around 1,975 pounds, which is far greater than what Gymlan states in his video. A couple things should be noted too about what Gymlan says in his video about these weights. First, the 1,043-pound claim is actually associated with a 13-footer from Florida, which is the state record for the heaviest alligator caught. Second, I don't believe that a Nile crocodile would be double the weight of an American alligator if they were around the same length. They are both bulkier crocodilians, and it's been stated that both species have similar growth rates. It's just that Nile crocodiles tend to get bigger. I should note though that in terms of weights or masses for crocodilians, it's not always consistent. If we use the same equation for the 13-footer I just talked about, we get a weight of around 700 pounds, which is a good chunk less than what the 13-footer actually was. You can also take a look at these two alligators I caught last year. Most likely, if you had to guess, you'd say this is the longer one based on how much bulkier it is compared to this one, but that's not the case. The bulkier one is in fact 1 foot smaller than the other one, even though the other is longer. This just shows that crocodilians are like people in the sense that individuals are built differently from one another.
Is Gabon, which is home to a unique group of dwarf crocodiles that live in caves, the Abanda Caves. In 2015, 20 of these crocodiles were captured, documented, and released. But perhaps most surprisingly is the fact that some of the individuals were quite large. One dwarf croc pulled from the cave was 1.7 meters, which was just shy from the world record of dwarf crocodiles. So is it possible that a unique subset of Nilos live in underground caverns, rarely seen as they rarely leave the dark, and something about the ecology there allows them to grow far larger than average? Maybe, as long as they can maintain temperature, which clearly the dwarf crocodiles of Gabon do.
So the point here is actually quite interesting, and I never really thought about it. I think something else to compare these Mahamba claims to are the Nile crocodile populations in the caves of Madagascar. While there haven't been giants reportedly living in these caves, as far as I'm aware of, there's not too much information on these cave-dwelling Niles, so it would definitely be something good to look into. The rest of the video goes into his explanation of what he believes the Mahamba to be, along with some other things. Even though I did have some critiques I wanted to say, I still think it's a well put together video and that you should watch it. Giant crocodile videos are a subject online which are known to be of very poor quality, and I get annoyed when I see videos which are obviously low in effort and made for views. This is not the category I would put his video in, and I would say it's one of the higher quality giant croc videos I've seen. Gymlan, like me, strives to get the best and most in-depth information possible to educate people, so I felt that maybe this was something I could do to help increase the knowledge of those interested. Another video I'd recommend too is How Big Do Saltwater Crocodiles Get by Wild World, which is very informative in my opinion. On a side note, the next Bujang Senong video should be coming out soon, and I will all keep you posted. The next video will be about the strange origin of this killer and how locals finally put down this gigantic crocodile.
Videos of this.
He caught. Sorry, I'm up. Keep pulling. I gotta go now, buddy. I gotta get off. Put him up to the tree gate. Right there.
Think you ought to help him?
No, I'm not trying to help him.
Jake.
I'm not a trained professional.
I don't blame him.
Take that.
Yep.
I got it.
There's a situation, I can't talk right now. I'm like, okay, I get back home. He's like, I'll be right back. I'm like, I'm going to see this. I run down and then voila, big boy gators here.
How much longer you got to stay?
Just a year.
Cut rope off right there.
And then I'm the Army's problem.
Or the army's your problem.
I get this on him, we get the tape. We're good. You're not going anywhere.
To learn more about the animals you just saw, buy my book, What We Get Wrong About Crocodilians. It examines claims of giant crocodiles, a World War II massacre, their regenerating tails, alligators in sewers, their record land speeds, and more. The book looks at a variety of subjects many people, including experts, get wrong about these animals, and I desperately wanted to dispel the myths that have persisted so long. Buy What We Get Wrong About Crocodilians in physical or digital formats. Link in bio, comments, or description to buy.